brethren, it's Lisa. I came to share with you today a dream I had, and then in trying to get understanding about the dream, I received a word. So this is both a dream and a word. So on May the 3rd, been a little ill over the past couple of days. Nothing major. Just a little bit of a relapse. I'm kind of up and down. So I had to take a rest on May the 3rd. And when I went to go rest, I had a dream. So in the dream I saw I was over the United States, kind of looking down on it. And this time it just looked like the surface area of the land. None of the states were defined, but I could tell that there was someone at a desk, one by one in each state. They were signing something, and it was one by one. It looked like it was going from the west to the east, and I believe these were governors, because there was a man that appeared at a desk in each state, and I knew that some of them had been signed already, and I was seeing the rest of them come in. So one by one, I believe, I wasn't told that it was the governor signing, but I just assumed, because when a president signs like an executive order, he does that from his desk at the White House. This was happening in each state, so I felt like it was the governor's office. It had a presidential-like desk or a governor-like desk, but there was a man signing something. I didn't know if it was an executive order or some kind of bill, but each state was falling in line and signing, and I knew at the end of the dream that the last state had been signed, and that this was it, and they had implemented this law that would affect the whole of the United States and the people drastically, but I didn't know in what way. It was kind of like the final penmanship on signature to get things rolling and having full legal capacity in place. So I woke and I asked Father about this dream, and I prayed about it overnight. The next day I was praying about it again. I felt like the dream had imminency, like it was in the process and almost finished, almost completed. In praying about it, I heard the Lord kind of put in my mind, do you remember, it was kind of a question that the Lord put in my mind, do you remember me telling you in October of 2019 that everything was about to change? And I said, yes, Father. I didn't know, in October, just how much things were about to change, and I misunderstood and thought it was about some other things, but things really did change. They began changing. It wasn't even 6 weeks later since the message that the virus began in Wuhan, and then of course came to the States, all over the world. It just began to spread. So we know, and then by April the whole nation was locked down here. So I believe that was the fire that the Lord was telling me in September of last year, 2019, that this was not a literal fire, but a fire of trying times. The whole world, as it is, being locked down, and all of the other things that come along with that. But I told the Lord, yes, I remember you said things were about to change back in October of 2019, and he said, yes, things are about to change again. And I began after praying about it, like I said, for a day to receive a word. He was explaining this to me again. I said, things are about to change again.
We are beginning a program today, and it's a pilot program which will certainly grow into something larger and larger, and that is a community contact tracing program. We've done contact tracing all along. That a contact is a person who's been exposed to someone that we document to have the COVID infection. When we find someone who has a COVID infection, those people are immediately isolated. But we also work with them to figure out who their contacts were. We are beginning a program today, and it's a pilot program which will certainly grow into something larger and larger, and that is a community contact tracing program. We've done contact tracing all along. That a contact is a person who's been exposed to someone that we document to have the COVID infection. When we find someone who has a COVID infection, those people are immediately isolated. But we also work with them to figure out who their contacts were. Luckily, because you have been doing such a great job of cooperating and staying indoors, and staying isolated, it used to be there were 10 contacts, at least, for every patient that we would find. Now, it looks like there are probably only 2 or 3 or 4 contacts, not surprisingly, because most people have been staying away from others. And that's good news. But the purpose of this program is to bring on people. We're going to start with 10 people. We may bring on up to 50 or even more as the program grows and as we see the needs for it. As we do more testing, we will find more and more people who have COVID-19. And again, we'll isolate every one of them, and we will find every one of their contacts, and we will make sure that they stay quarantined, and we'll check in with them every day. In other words, what this program means is that we're going to do a more complete job, and we're going to do a more meticulous job of making it less and less possible for others in the county to run into someone with COVID-19 infection. It's not just our county that's bringing more people on. There are going to be thousands of people hired who will be these contact investigators throughout the state. And this is occurring in many, many other states as well, perhaps all of the states in our country. We will be giving intensive training to these people, training not only for identifying and finding contacts, but also in terms of how to be sensitive about doing it. We also realize that as we find more contacts, some of the people we find are going to have trouble being isolated. For instance, if they live in a home where there's only one bathroom and there are 3 or 4 other people living there, and those people don't have COVID infection, we're not going to be able to keep the person in that home. Every person who we're isolating, for instance, needs to have their own bathroom. And so we'll be moving people like this into other kinds of housing that we have available. Though also have other needs, perhaps food, whatever it's going to be, the county will be there to back them up and to support them.
Make the this video.
One key aspect of fighting the spread of the virus is tracking down those who've had contact with someone who's infected. News Channel reporter Senere De Los Santos spoke with Ventura County health experts about plans to beef up what's known as contact tracing.
That's right. Contact tracing is not a new effort for Ventura County. The health department has been doing it since the virus broke out, but now public health is expanding its efforts in a major way.
We want to make sure when we're calling them, it's only supportive, it's only to help them.
Ventura County Public Health is in the process of training 60 new contact tracers. That's triple the number from just a month ago.
I believe one public health nurse with 10 contact tracers. And so they're going to work together as a team to make sure that each positive COVID case in Ventura County has the contact tracing staff to work with them.
Every time there's a positive COVID-19 lab test, it's reported directly to the Ventura County Public Health Department.
Public health nurse interview each positive lab case, confirmed case, and during that interview, we will find out who lives in the house. We will find out if they're working. We will ask them if they've been out.
The contact tracers will then get in contact with anyone who has been exposed. Then they will ask them to monitor themselves, checking their temperature twice a day. Contact investigators reach out in several ways, including calling and making home visits.
If it's someone that is refusing, we will definitely consult with our health officer to look into next steps.
The person who originally tested positive stays in isolation for 14 days. Ventura County will provide a free hotel room and meals if patients can't easily isolate.
Or if we determine that there might be a high-risk family member, such as a senior, we have a special housing program that we can offer them.
The Public Health Department is following the CDC guidelines when it comes to contact tracing, and that goes as far as training its staff members. In Oxnard, News Channel reporter Senere De Los